Dionisio at the plate. He's 0 for 2 today. Swakowski, the big right-hander, lets it go. It's right down Broadway. Dionisio lets it fly, and it's raining now.
It's time for Rain Delay Theater with Jeremy Dionisio and Jack Swakowski.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rain Delay Theater, the podcast where two bums talk about other bums at baseball games. I'm Jack Swakowski.
And I'm Jeremy Dionisio.
And we are recapping the A's versus White Sox game that took place on the Southside. Jeremy, it was Mexican Heritage Night on this night. The date of this was Friday, July 10th. So it was fun. There was a jersey to be had. Lots of exciting stuff. We saw I saw my first cycle. You saw your second of the month. Yeah, which is crazy, you know. But it was great. A lot of exciting stuff happened, and we were back at the Sox Park.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I do think like the highlight was that Tristan Peters cycle. We could talk about it a little later.
Yeah,
it's a very weird baseball thing that you go 40 something years of your life, before you see a cycle, and then you see two in a 30-day span. So
yeah.
Less than that even, just craziness, but we'll talk about that. The Mexican Heritage Night meant that there was going to be a big turnout, and the ticket prices reflected that. So I don't even want to say what we paid for our tickets. But it's,
I just want to forget.
Yeah. Now luckily there's more to that story that kind of helps flesh out that a total net spent figure, but we can get into that. But yeah, the game was I don't know if it was a sellout. The stadium still wasn't it was pretty packed, but there were some empty seats, but definitely for the White Sox it was it was pretty solid. So our concern with these games, because we're so used to just having free run of the stadium, even when they are doing somewhat good, is that on these nights, weekend nights, sold out nights, high turnout nights, they actually do limit access to the 100 level. So you get a little concerned about that, being able to sneak down, not even just for the seats, but now that we're graphing at White Sox, that's a concern. I guess we can say that there was so we bought 500 level tickets. They were the cheapest we could afford. They were still quite expensive. And it occurred to me later that we might not be able to get down there. I just wasn't thinking about that because it's not top of mind. But I did look at our tickets, and they did say 100 level access. So that's all well and good, but it wouldn't be the first time that the White Sox printed something erroneously, put it down in print. So more on that. I got there before you, Jack. I wanted to get in line. I also wanted to make sure I got the jersey, and just kind of I had the time that day. So I got there early, and honestly, I did not get there as early as I wanted to, nor as early as I should have, to make sure I got a good spot for the jersey. But so the lines were already quite deep. I went to the section that you go for graphing, and there's this weird bottleneck that happens because there's I don't know 10, 12 rows in a row, lanes in a row, to get into the stadium. And people fill up those rows, and then once that row ends, it kind of just bottlenecks into one long row that just line that just goes down the sidewalk basically around the stadium. So most people would see that line and just be oh, okay, I guess I have to stand all the way back here. But I walked by, and I could see that there was still some space left in one of the rows to get in. So I kind of weaseled my way in there, and I'm glad no one yelled at me or anything or called me out. And I was gonna just kind of get in line, which probably would have put me 30 people deep or something in this particular line. But then I looked at the front, and I saw the gray grapher.
Yeah.
In line, first person in line. Of course he was. we had thought maybe that with the expected turnout and the ticket price, that he would have the good sense to skip this game, but no shot. He was there first in line again.
Yep.
It was
we would later find out that the trouble he went through to get a ticket for this game. But I guess we can get to that a little bit later.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So so then like I go up to the Greg Raffer and he I just like kind of like say hi to him, whatever. I think we fist bumped or something, and I'm like, hey, do you think it'd be okay? Like, do you think it'd be safe to get behind you or something? And he's like, are you by yourself? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what about Jack? And I'm like, Jack's gonna get here a little later. And he's like, I guess so. So he like begrudgingly let me get behind him. And like, I didn't even really like, honestly, it was not a big deal because like I would have just been like 30th behind and like I would have been probably fine. But yeah, I don't know. So like, it was kind of a weird thing. Like I didn't want to like ask him for a favor. But it just, I don't know. I thought it was like not a big deal. So
I guess it was a good thing that we weren't there together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Perzynski thing last 2 years ago when he's like, well, I don't know if he'll sign for 3 guys. So
Yeah.
it's just that's his mentality.
Yeah, 100%. So okay. So then I spent basically like a good like 90 minutes with the Greg Raffer in line.
Yep.
Just with nothing to do except for bake in the sun. So yeah, so it was crazy. So we covered like all types of like topics of life and love and baseball and just whatever, and not so much love,
God.
but yeah, we talked like we talked about like I mentioned like my wife, and he's like, oh, you're married? He's like, you got any kids? And like, we talked about that kind of stuff. We talked about he lives in like the same neighborhood that I grew up in. So like we talked about that. He mentioned, hanging on the corner, like to me and to someone behind us. That came up again.
He loves to talk about that, by the way. What he did in the 80s, like his past. I thought it was like some great revelation. Like, no, you're around him for any significant amount of time. He loves to talk about his past.
Yeah, exactly. Like he struck up a random conversation with the lady behind us, and he's like, yeah, I'm from around Wrigley. He's like, but I said like I did like stay for autographs like in the 80s and the early 90s, like, and I'm like, I did like the 93 Phillies and I got a bunch of guys, and he's like oh, I wasn't thinking about graphing then. He's like, I was on the corner hanging out, and getting into trouble is what he said. So there was that. We had a whole conversation about holding spots in line and like how people like always ask him to do it, and like he's like, hey, I don't appreciate it, they use me or whatever, and he's like, yeah, but I put in all the work, and then they come in, and like I know he was talking about other people, but like here I am just having cut behind him in line, and so like, what am I supposed to say? And I'm like yep, I get it. I'm like, yeah, I kind of get in those situations too sometimes, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, for the record, I appreciate you letting me in. And he's like, I know. And like, so there was all that.
That was what he said about Alexis. Like, that was his number one complaint about Alexis, was like, he uses me to cut. At the Bears thing, he says, oh, I ain't gonna graph. 10 minutes later, he's got a mini helmet. So it's like, yeah. I think Alexis is gone now. So like, you played the Alexis role on Friday.
Yeah, I guess so. He did talk about how the conversation came about the 100 level access, and he's like, yeah, that's what he's like. Yeah, I didn't want to play any games. I didn't want to take any chances. So I had 2 500 level tickets, and I sold them for a 100 level ticket. Cause I didn't want to take any chances. And I told him like, my ticket says 100 level. He's like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, I didn't want to take a chance though. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see. And I guess spoiler alert, we were able to get into the 100 level. Yep. So that probably drove him nuts.
Yes.
But yeah, obviously did not set that up to for that purpose.
No.
But I'm sure he was all in a knot about that. The last thing that he said that I thought was pretty funny is we were talking about the All-Star game, and I'm like, is that next year already that the All-Star game is going to be at Wrigley Field? And he's like, yeah. He's like, but they're not going to play it because of the strike. And then he goes like, they knew. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? They knew. Like, are you insinuating that? I don't know what that means. Like, is he insinuating that the MLB secretly didn't want the Cubs to have the All-Star game? Like, I don't know what that means.
It has to be.
Yeah.
But like, why?
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
obviously they knew the collective bargaining agreement was going to be up in this year. Like, they must have known it. But like, I don't feel like they did that to the Cubs on purpose.
No, I don't see why. Like, the MLB would love to have the All-Star game here. It's just, it was like the amenities and the facilities that were the issue, and there was a lot of back and forth about that, and like they finally got it up to snuff. But I'm like, did he think like the Cubs were like didn't really want to host it, and they were like just like, give us the 2027 one and it'll be canceled and it'll look like we tried to get it. Like, it was just very confusing. So I don't know, but honestly, yeah. So there was 90 minutes worth of conversation, and those are the quick highlights. But there's way more. He of course talked about some fellow graphers. He talked about Josh and the Royal Tenenbaums, the Tenenbaum twins, whatever. Talked about JEJ, who might be in some hot water, but he didn't share the details about that. So to be continued on that one. But yeah, just crazy.
No, it is, Jeremy. Usually, so I've been in that position with him where I've been sitting there for like a half hour at Sox. And, we've been up there with him, too, at Wrigley. But usually there's a buffer, especially at Sox. Like, usually there's another grapher there to kind of distract him, and he'll talk to that guy, too. But it doesn't sound like there was any of that. It sounds like it was just you and him. And I think he'd even told you, like, it's going to be just us tonight. And he ended up being right.
Yeah, he's like, he even said, like, oh, so then, like, yeah, let me just, sorry, the one kind of overarching thing of this all was, like, he did ask about you, Jack. He's like, where's Jack? And I said, like, you had told me that you had some like, errands to run or something, some things to take care of. So I'm like, yeah, he had some stuff that he had to do in the morning, is what I said. And he's like, what about the afternoon? And, like, I'm like, I don't know. And, like, I was in 90 minutes of time to kill. I told you, Jack, I'm sorry, like, if anything gets back to you about what like our conversation, but like I feel like I had to sell you out a little bit because he was giving me the heart. He was like pressing me on it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, Jack. He doesn't tell me, he doesn't tell me everything that he does. I'm not really sure exactly what he was doing, but he said he was going to get here later. That's all I know. And
my God.
And he was like, and then I think that's what he was saying. That's when the whole marriage thing came up, because he's like, I mentioned that whatever, I'm married, and he's like, what about Jack? And I'm like, no, he's not. And he's like, well, then he should definitely be here, like stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's priceless, Jeremy. Well, I can, having had that experience myself, I don't blame you for whatever the hell you said.
Yeah, I had to, man.
Yeah. I was envious of where you were, believe it or not, because I rolled up a little after 4. I mean, I probably got there at 4:15. So if you said you got there at 4, the line like blew up probably right after you got there. Because I rolled in 4:15, 4:20, and the line, like you described it, it just sort of snakes into a single line. Yeah. And I got, there were probably several hundred, 300-400 people, if not more, already in line ahead of me. And I only got there about 15 or 20 minutes after you did. So I was in this. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, Jack, real quick. I think what happened was like you got there probably just late enough to not have that chance to kind of sneak through the bottleneck in play.
Yep.
And I think that obviously made all the difference, because like there were probably, like, outside of that barricade, there was probably like 75, 80 people in line, and I just probably just skirted by all them and then got into those individual lines and then like got right up there, which it's kind of crazy to think about in retrospect, but yeah, it worked out.
Yeah. So I was back in this line, just waiting with all of the other people, and I will say the line got really big behind me fast. Like, I was sitting there for 5 minutes. I looked back, and there were already 150 people who'd gotten in line behind me. So yeah, it was that just kind of paints the picture of like the bedlam that this game is. Like, there's just so many people who come because they want the jersey. Everybody wants the jersey, and I think it was only first 15,000 who get it. So yeah, anyway, where I'm waiting in line was the section where I guess motorcycles can park, which I didn't know that. So it was like they have parking for just regular bicycles, but then also motorcycles can park here as well. And so yeah, all these motorcycles were just rolling in and parking here, and like some of the guys had motorcycle club jackets on and stuff, and like one of the guys was just blasting music. Like, there were I would say DJs at like various points in like at like the north entrance of the stadium, the south entrance, whatever. We even took a picture, Jeremy, at one point. They had like people up on stages, live bands, DJs, whatever, just because there were so many people there. The White Sox did it; they hired them. It's like these motorcycle guys. They were almost a DJ like for the people who were right by them, because like the guy was just blasting this music so loud. And these people were freaking hardcore, man. Like, they were, they all had, like, beers or White Claws or whatever they were drinking. But then they were passing around bottles of Jameson and Malort and just drinking straight from the bottle. And I thought, I bet these guys are doing that because the White Sox are going to let them park those motorcycles there overnight, and they're all going to take cabs home. So I'm sure... It's like I know that's why they're drinking so much, because they know they're going to be responsible after the game.
Of course, they're going to sign up. Oh wait, they're going to sign up for the designated driver program. Let's just squeeze that in here real quick too, because I forgot to make a note of that. We were wondering about because we have this kind of designated driver thing at Cubs now that we do like regular basis now, where we get a free soda. The White Sox, we were wondering if the White Sox had something similar. The Bears have the same thing. Like, I've done it at the Bears before. The White Sox, turns out they do have one, but their policy, I'm not making this up, folks, is that if you sign up to be a designated driver, you get a coupon for, like, I don't forget. It's not even free. It's like $2 off or something, or maybe it's the total. Is for
it's
$2.
$1. You get it for $1, I think.
Okay, you get it for $1. You get a non-alcoholic beer. So it's like you're not even getting a soda. You're still getting a beer. It's just non-alcoholic. Like, I can't. You can't make it up, man. You can't make it up. Yeah.
It's like they're asking you to fall off the wagon. It's crazy.
Yeah. So funny. So, they were enjoying all those non-alcoholic $1 beers, I'm sure, inside.
Yes, I'm sure they were. So that was the situation. It was a little crazy getting in, because once we got up to that security point, it turns into craziness. Everybody just goes into a different line, and like that whole thing just turned into a blob of humanity. But somehow I was able to get in, and only about probably 10 minutes after you did. I was worried I was going to miss graphing because it was going to take me so long to get in. So, yeah, I got down there, and I was pretty surprised to see that it was just you, the Gray Graffer, and then the Tenenbaum twins as well. I was surprised it was just you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And I guess just real quick, just to roll it back real quick, Jack, you did get a jersey.
I did.
Yeah, and we got jerseys. You got a jersey. I will say I was a little worried, Jack, because the line we were in only had like 2 boxes per line, which is like 70 boxes, 70 jerseys in each box, so 140 for the line. I think that's what it was. It might have even been smaller than that. But so I'm like, if every line has this, they're gonna go quick. But I think they had more at the, like, we were in some kind of weird line off to the side. So, but yeah, so we get down there, and I think I was down there before you. I'm trying to think, like, we had gotten there, and I guess this will come up, but the first group was like long gone at that point, I think. So the first group was Nick Kurtz and Lawrence Butler and Shea Langoliers, probably JJ Bleday, I guess, if he's healthy. No, he's on the Reds. That's right.
Yep.
I still group him with the A's. But like, those big guys were gone. I get there and like we managed to catch Jacob Wilson like kind of like right as he's there, so I got him again. I ended up getting Carlos Cortez, and then I got Josh Kuroda Grauer, who's kind of a new call up for the A's. So I got all those guys, I think, before you showed up, Jack. And I think like one group had finished batting, I think, by the time you got in. And there were some good guys in that group, Jeff McNeil, Tyler Soderstrom, and that we kind of lost track of them a little bit. But yeah, the Tenenbaum twins showed up, and they were just like peppering Dennis with questions, and they're like, "Is Kurtz out? Is Kurtz out?" And Dennis goes like, he's like, "No, Kurtz is already in." He's like, he knows what time the gates open. Like he knows that people are coming in, so they take batting practice early and they go back inside the clubhouse. He's like, they know what time the gates open. And like they do it on purpose and like all this fully calculated thing.
Yeah, we've already, debunked that, Jeremy. Just in Dennis's mind, the players will do anything to conspire to not sign for the fans. But yes. Nick Kurtz has no idea when the gates open at a stadium. I'm sure he has no idea. He's never probably attended a game as a fan. He doesn't know. He just takes batting practice in the first group because he's one of the best players.
Yeah, he doesn't organize the whole coaching staff and the whole like field like crew to like put out the L screens and get the bags of balls out early because he's like, hey, we got to wrap this up. the gates are opening in 20 minutes. I haven't taken a hack yet. It's like, come on, bullpen catcher, like get your ass out there behind that L screen and start chucking them in here. Like that's not not happening.
No.
So even if Dennis doesn't truly believe that at heart, he was definitely just laying into it for one of the older Tenenbaum twin just to make him feel bad and stupid, which maybe is not the worst thing that could happen to this kid because they do kind of suck. But yeah, so that all happened. I guess while we're on that subject, is there anything more you want to say about?
Yeah, well, when I came down, I asked about Kurtz because I was like, are any of those guys out there? And you're like, yeah, they already went inside. And I think I said to you, I found out that Kurtz isn't even in the lineup tonight. Like, he's not going to play because he's sick. And then Dennis heard that and he goes, that motherfucker signed for me. And then you looked at him and you were like, "Oh man!" Like you kind of like took a step away from him, like Dennis caught a virus and you were gonna get sick from it, and that was pretty funny. I don't know if like Dennis, the Gray Graph or whatever.
Yeah, it's
the
okay.
Gray Graph
it's okay. Yeah,
the Gray. It's a work in progress, but I don't know if the Gray Grapher like had fully like got the scope of that joke, but it was funny.
I think he was in on it because I think he was like trying to like touch me or something, and I was like backing away from him and stuff. So like I think he was in on it. I think he might just have a little more subtlety to his humor, I guess.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right. Sure. But that was pretty funny, and also I guess it should be noted that he went to the hotel and he did get Nick Kurtz, so that's another one that he got.
Yeah. His he was talking about he was at the day game between the Sox and the Red Sox the day prior, and he said that he's like, I left my house at 8 and I got 8 a.m. and I got back at 7 p.m. It's like Jesus, man. Yeah, it's like that came up in the course of him talking about people cutting him in line. Just like, yeah, they didn't put in that time. Like, I put in that time. He's like, I used to leave work early, or I would go clock out at 39th Street, just to make it to the park. And it was a lot. But yeah, so we had the little joke with the Kurtz thing, which was kind of fun. And then these Tenenbaum twins. So like, these are the kids. I forgot. I made mention of them last episode, and like I forgot that we came up with a name for them. But they're like minions of Josh, not really even minions. They are users of Josh, quite honestly.
Yep.
They got like all his information and then they just show up and like, they're a real problem. I think I mentioned it before we had a name for them, but like when I was graphing the Astros getaway, I think I said this on the podcast. I called for Nate Pearson and I'm like, hey Nate, I need you on this no-hitter card. And the older Tenenbaum kid goes, I don't think he cares. And I'm like,
Yep.
and I wanted to like smack the kid like in this upside the head. And like, so Gray Graffer said to, he's like, yeah, I told him that story. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, these kids are little assholes or whatever. And he's like, he's like, he's straight with me now. Cause I told him, I'm like, if you were 18 years old, I'd kick your ass or whatever. and so he doesn't pull that shit with me now anymore. But, well, I guess oh yeah, you want to go on?
Yeah. Well, I guess the background that he's given on these kids, and I believe it, is that he says that the dad buys them tickets to the 1914 club, which I guess is like got to be $500 a game or something like that. That's what Dennis said. I don't know, but it's at least probably a couple $100 for these kids to get in there every game.
He laid out the math to them, right? Because he said like $300, I think, right?
Yeah. He was doing the math. So it's that, but then he said also that the parents pay for the kids to take Ubers down here, which is also insane. And then they must have bought these kids tickets for this game too, which we know wasn't cheap. But he was lecturing the older one at the game we were at, and he was saying like, your dad pays $500 to get you into the 1914 club, and then you pay $200 for the card, and then you sell it for $300 once you get it signed. The math isn't there, and so like then the kid just goes, well, it's not my money. So I guess the moral of the story is that these kids are spoiled little brats.
Yeah. He's like, my dad wants to spend that money or something. He's like, yeah, and Dennis Greg Graffer's like, I know, I get it. And he's like, but I'm just saying, like, the math doesn't add up or whatever. And it was a lot. It was just a lot. And this is like, we're still in the midst of graphing at this point. So
yeah, I've sort of thought, Jeremy, that I'm starting to put this together now. So you mentioned that he said that JEJ was in some trouble with the law, possibly, and might get arrested, whatever that means. So I've actually been thinking, like, maybe Dennis is maybe he followed all these like kid graphers on Instagram so he can take screenshots of their stories and send them to like the schools that the kids go to and be like, hey, like, these kids are at the park when they're supposed to be in school. Like, I know they called in sick today. Just trying to get these kids in trouble any way they can. So it's like, if I was JEJ, I might wonder if the Gray Graffer sold me out somehow.
Yeah, like he's a mole. He's like a mole.
Yeah.
I mean, we joked about the him being a truant officer, and when graphing access is at hand, I wouldn't put it past the Gray Graffer to pull out those stops. So it's very possible.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So the graphing continued. I ended up getting Gage Jump to come over, which I was very happy to get that one because he didn't have any card. I didn't have any cards of him when the Cubs were in town, and I actually got a card from the game that he played against the Cubs, so that was pretty good. I think he's going to be a good player, so glad to get him. And then Mark Kotze came over, and we called him over, and we ended up getting Mark Kotze.
Yeah, that was cool. So got him for the second time. I like how it looks. I got him on a 2006 flagship, so that was nice. He was kind of not nice at Wrigley, so it was cool. It was cool that he signed for us at the Sox Park. The worst part, though, was that right after he came in, stuff wrapped up, and everybody came in. All of the coaches, all of the players who were left, just 15, 20 guys, all came in at the same time. And there was just no chance that anybody was going to stop.
No, it was just like just grasping at straws at that point. Just try to pick off anyone you could. And so I ended up calling and getting Colby Thomas. I'm not really sure like what level kind of prospect he is for the A's, but I ended up getting him, and in my mind I was like, I got him at the A's camp in 2025, which I did do, and I got a lot of the guys. And then I was going through my records, and I'm like, it turns out I didn't get Colby Thomas. I got a guy named Cody Thomas, I think was his name.
I think the question is, Jeremy, who's Cody Thomas?
Yeah, he's just some guy who was with the Rangers. But I almost want to. No, he might have been like a. He was with the A's, I think, at some point. I'm looking him up really quick. Yeah, Cody Thomas. Let's see, is he even in baseball? Yeah, he's in. He's in independent ball. Last 2 years he's played independent ball, but he was actually in the A's organization. Yeah, I mean, I'm confused because I thought I got him with the Yeah, I did get him with the Rangers. So he was probably in camp with the Rangers, but he was also an A. So I guess you can kind of see how I got confused there.
Yeah.
But he was a Dodger property, and then he went to the A's, and now he was in camp with the Rangers, and now he's in independent ball. So, it's kind of weird. That's kind of the cool and weird thing about spring training is like you get guys like that, if you happen to have their card. And so, this is interesting. He's a brother-in-law of Zach Neal, James Russell, Bobby Witt Jr., and he's son-in-law of Bobby Witt. So there you go. Are we
still talking about Cody Thomas or Colby Thomas?
That's Cody Thomas. That's Cody Thomas.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's from Colleyville, Texas, so he's from the same town. So that's weird. He's brother-in-law of Bobby Witt Jr. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, I guess he's all set, even if he doesn't make it in baseball.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's interesting there. I just found that out live here, folks. But anyway, so I turns out I needed Colby Thomas, so I'm glad I got him. So that's the story there. And then but you know, there's so many guys just like slipped through our fingers, which was kind of a bummer. I really wanted to get Elvis Alvarado. Yeah. But yeah, kind of missed on everybody else. I called for Bobby Crosby, and it didn't get him either. But yeah, Joey Meneses, I had a card of him, and he came out a little later. We were still kind of down there. It was before they kind of kicked us out, and Meneses just came out with like the clubby, the clubhouse guy, and like he was trying on helmets. Like I think the clubhouse guy got him a helmet, and he went out to try it out to make sure it fit and everything. And he had just gotten called up that day for the injured Nick Kurtz. And I just called for him, and he came over and he signed for me. It was pretty cool. Greg Graffer was saying that he didn't. He's like, yeah, he wasn't nice to me, but he came over in like a pretty nice situation. So yeah, I was happy with that. You know.
Yeah, no, that's good. I have a Meneses card, but I just didn't. I didn't think to bring it because he just got called up like that day. It was kind of cool to see. Just some of the, I don't know what do you want to call it, just the more boring aspects of being a big league player. It's like, you know, Meneses had to come out there with the equipment guy and like try a helmet on. It's like this is the non-glamorous part about being a baseball player. The helmets looked awesome though. You know, like these guys are probably just used to this, but I was like, man, like they all look new and shiny and like really cool. Like you see the equipment up close like that. It is pretty cool. And then they had all the guys' batting gloves like kind of lined up on a shelf underneath the helmets. That was neat too. So I don't know, when you get as close as we get sometimes, you get to see stuff that you wouldn't normally see. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you also like it's interesting too. You get that smell of that of the gear. I think it's probably pine tar is what that is. Yeah. But like. And you smell that in spring training too, and it's just like it's very cool. And I feel like those are the kinds of things that, you know, make you like romantic about the game or whatever, like smelling that stuff. And like it's cool. So yeah, it's that's one of the cool things about graphing at the White Sox is you basically can hang over the dugout. And you know, I was speculating maybe that's what JEJ got in trouble for, but
sure.
I'm not sure, but yeah, very cool stuff.
It was. We should also say, too, I guess, before we move on from the graphing, there's one more Greg Graffer thing, but one of the Tenenbaum kids, I think, got Colby Thomas's batting gloves, or at least like some spare ones. So it's like, oh yeah, those are the kids that needed to get something like that for sure. Yeah. You know, great. So anyway, graphing was wrapping up, and then Dennis, and I had been here for the last 20 to 30 minutes, but he just looks over. The Greg Graffer, he looks over at me. And he goes, how you doing? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. And he was like, and then I think I asked him, like, you going to stay for the game? And he goes, hell no. And it was, I didn't expect that him to get up that octave. So that was strange. But you had told me, like, later the hoops he jumped through to get into this game. Like he sold two 500 level seats to get a 100 level seat, and like, man, it wasn't worth him for him to do that. As much as he comes here, and the fact that he already graphed the A's at least twice at Wrigley Field and did the hotel, I'm sure every day, and also the day we went to this game and got Nick Kurtz. Like, man, you didn't need to go through all that trouble just to get these tickets to come to this game, man. But he did, so that shows you his level of dedication.
And he went the following day too, which we'll find out later. But he went Saturday also.
I did not know that. That's wild.
So and just real quick, I guess, before we move on from Greg Graffer, I will say that I did say, like, out of guilt, I said to him, like, hey man, well, listen, I make custom cards, so if you ever need a custom, just let me know, and I got you or whatever. And he's like, okay. And so then we exchanged numbers. So I got the digits. So finally, like, I'm in that class with Jack. He beat me by a couple years, I think. But yeah. So that'll come into play.
Now he'll be blowing up your phone too, asking you if you're coming to Wrigley. So. And
he already did. So we'll get into that at the end. But yeah. So okay. So we finally get out of there. We finally head up to our seats, and we just decide, like, let's sit in the 500 level. Let's not mess around. Plus, like, we are always kind of lamenting the fact that we're missing out on just gold up there, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
So we would sit up there a lot before the podcast started and just got amazing gems, which kind of inspired this whole podcast. So we were long overdue to sit up there just for the experience. We were going up to the seats, and like, this is where we finally got like a perspective of just like how well attended this night was. We got up, like, we were walking up like the levels of like ramps, and we walked up the ramps that overlooked like the parking lot basically. And so we saw one of the pregame concerts, and just like, it was just a sea of humanity, just like just a mass of people, and people getting into the stadium, people like watching the pregame concert, people just tailgating. Like, it was like thousands of people down there, and it's just kind of crazy to like stand above that and just watch it all. And so, like, I got video of that, and it was just crazy to see. I mean, it was kind of nice. It was a nice change of pace for a White Sox game.
Yeah, it was cool. It's been a long time since we've been to a game that was that well attended. So yeah, that was very neat to see. And yeah, it was fun to be in the upper deck too. The seats were not horrible. We were kind of behind the right field foul pole. So yeah, it was a nice change of pace, I think, in general. It was good.
Yeah. So that was cool. We were sitting in our seats. We got some food, and we got back to our seats. And there was people all around us. There was a group of women like in front of us, and then like three other women came in, and like they were like talking to each other. I don't even think they knew each other, but they were kind of like friendly, talking to each other, and like. And the one girl goes like, "Oh, this is a section right here. This is a section." And the one girl goes like, "Hey, like, you don't have a drink. You better get a drink." Like, and she's like, "That's right. I better go get one, girl, because we're about to turn up." And it was just funny, just like watching the exchange with like perfect strangers. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It was interesting. Luckily, it didn't get it rowdy by us or anything.
Yeah, that was funny, fun. Jeremy. That reminds me of that one line in the Cubs bathroom that one time when that usher, you said that usher was like, "This is my bathroom and I keep it turned up." I don't know if you remember that. But so these ladies who were passing us, who were yelling that to the other strangers, one of them had a glass of wine. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's always weird when you see people with a glass of wine at a baseball game. It just seems like a strange pairing. I've seen it before. And there's just something that doesn't. It's just like there's something that's like square peg and round hole about it. It just doesn't. The two don't mix. I have no problem with it, and I like wine. But it's just. I think it's a strange choice at a baseball game.
Yeah, and I do feel. I feel. I consider myself a pretty progressive man in this world, but like, there's also something about like when you see a guy with wine and a girl with wine, and like the differences there, and it's like. As a guy, it's not the best look, I don't think, to be having. Honestly, the reason why, it's not even about like a masculinity thing. It's more about like a privilege thing. It's like, this rich asshole is drinking fucking wine at a baseball game. It's like, get out of here, dude.
Yeah, I'm
so.
sure. Yeah, it was probably like a $15-$18 glass of wine.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. An interesting thing to see. Yeah, I got two brats, which was nice. Jeremy, I think you got pizza and something else. We did the
Polish.
basics. I think you might have got a Polish too. So yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Something that was annoying was it was in the bottom of the third inning. The wave started in our section.
Yeah.
And we're I think we can just say that we're two guys who hate the wave. Like, the wave sucks. And the bottom of the third inning already. Here we go. They were doing the wave.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't even get like to the second half of the game. Just bottom of the third already. We're doing the wave. Like, the only thing I'll say, Jack, the only thing I can say is that there were no hits up until that point. But I'm almost positive that the person who started it wasn't like, hey, wait a second, there aren't even any hits in this game yet. Better start the wave. Like,
Yep.
the two just happened to be a coincidence, I think. But like, I don't know. It's I like pitchers duels, but like, people like go a couple innings without any runs scored, and they want to they want to turn it up basically. So,
Yep.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't good, and it wasn't the last wave either. So we had to deal with that. There was this guy in our section, and he was kind of an oddball. He was an older guy, and he must have been there with people, although I'm not entirely convinced that he was. So he was doing the thing where, and we've all been there, where sometimes you go into, you go out to go to the bathroom or get something to eat or something, and you just kind of are not really looking what section you were in. And so you come back in the stadium, and this is usually when you're sitting in seats that are not your seats. So that you come back in, and then you got to look around for your friends to see where you are, and like, you can't find them. So this guy was doing that. He came into our section, and he stood right in front of us, and he stood there looking for about 5 minutes. And I think before that he was in the section like to the left of us, and he was doing it too. Like, the guy just could not find where he was sitting. And so eventually, it went on for 5 or 10 minutes at least.
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't know if he had because we saw him in the section over from us, and I don't know if that was the same trip out where he was still trying to find someone, because time had passed in between those two. So I don't know if he was looking that whole time or he had gotten up a second time. I mean, honestly, if he got up a second time and couldn't find his way back, it's like, at that point, dude, it's on you. Like, you know that you went through this once. Like, you would think you would make a note of where you were so you could find it the next time. But we were sitting we were in these weird seats where the stairs, the aisle came up basically to where we were, and then it kind of I think they kind of, two rows kind of merged into one. And so we were at that merging point, and there was a railing in front of us, and this guy was standing literally right in front of us. Just, there was a railing in between us, and he was just mouth agape, just looking up at just rows of hundreds of people above us. And he's just like, oh, where am I? Where am I? And it's he wasn't saying that, but that's what his face was saying. And it's just this is ridiculous. And he was blocking our view, but it was just so humorous. And then I guess just one of the toppers of it all is that he was wearing, I'm pretty sure, an authentic, a team issued Justin Sterner jersey.
Yeah, that was the kicker, because we saw he had an A's jersey on, but his front was to us. And so he turns around. It was already funny, but then he turns around and he's got a Sterner jersey on, of all things. It could have been a Reggie Jackson jersey. It could have been a McGuire, but it was Justin Sterner. He must have gotten this thing because it looked authentic, and it had patches on the sleeves too, and all of that stuff. So he must have gotten it at some A's convention. Just you can get the Cubs jerseys for $60, $100, whatever it is. So yeah, it was actually a cool jersey, but Justin Sterner, I don't think MLB.com sells his jerseys quite yet. So that was that was funny. And I don't think we ever figured out what happened to that guy. Eventually, he went up to an usher, and the usher started talking to him, and then he kind of just disappeared. So I don't know, but Godspeed to the guy. I hope he found his group eventually.
Yeah, totally. It was, for his sake. And then coincidentally in the game, Justin Sterner came in the game and pretty much got shelled.
That was too bad to see.
Shelled.
It was because he was nice to me at Wrigley. I mean, he came over and signed at the bus, so like he seemed pretty cool. So yeah, I think he did not get anybody out, and he ended up giving up 5 runs. It was like 3 hits and 2 walks or something like that at the top of my head. So just not a good outing for the guy. So I hope he bounces back.
Yeah, it was rough. So yeah, it was getting, like a little kind of sloppy a little bit around us, I guess, at some point. Like this is like later now, later on in the latter innings of the game. But there was this drunk guy in front of us, and at one point I think there was like this group of like 3 like women, like younger women, like in front of him that I think he was like shooting a shot with. And like getting shot down pretty much as well. But he gets up at one point and he like calls the beer guy over, and then the guy goes like, he's like, 1 Modelo or 2 Modelos or something, and the guy's like, I only got 1 Modelo left, and he's like, all right, I'll take it. And then like from behind there, some guy goes like, you took my last Modelo. And the guy turns around and he's like, I did, I'm sorry. But it was just kind of funny, like, just again, kind of like part of the camaraderie up there, I guess.
It was, and it should be said that this guy was just a total Neanderthal too. And he was overserved as well. I think he decided to get those because he was with his buddy. So I think he decided to get those beers because the guy, the vendor, said it was last call. They got these beers and then they drank them, and then this guy goes down, like he just like goes down into the concourse and leaves the section. He came back up with 2 pieces of Beggar's Pizza. And I don't know if you saw this, Jeremy. I just kind of had my eye on this guy because he'd been a presence. But, like, this guy just, like, wolfed down these pieces of pizza. And it wasn't pretty, man. It was pretty gross. I'm glad I'd already done all the eating I had to do that night before I saw that because it was not good.
Funny.
Yeah, that was interesting. That guy was a whole thing. Also, we were talking about, like, can we maybe make some money back on these Mexican heritage jerseys? Because while they were cool, I'm probably never going to wear the thing. And, I guess you were in the same boat. And I think we wanted to recoup a little bit of money that we spent on these tickets. So, you ended up listing yours, Jeremy, during the game. And you actually sold it on eBay.
Yeah, listed and sold during the game, which is it's a pretty, I'd like to say it's a pretty impressive feat. I hadn't pulled that move since like I was like kind of going hard on Cubs bobbleheads. My dad as well would kind of like finagle a couple extra ones, and like the thing is like the sooner you sell them, the better off you are, and like if you can do it during the game, all the more better. So luckily in this age of technology, you're able to take the pictures and like list it from the eBay app. And so I kind of set up the jersey, took some pictures, and listed it. And I was like kind of multitasking, watching the game, keeping score, and doing this listing. But I'm glad it paid off because I was able to sell that bad boy for $50.
Hell yeah.
During the game. Yeah, so during the game, so that's nice. So that recouped a huge chunk of the ticket costs. There's all kinds of fees and everything like when you sell, so that is kind of the annoying part of it. And I think it's kind of like a barrier for a lot of people to like get into it. But I've been selling stuff on eBay for a while. So, and of course by the eBay 101 with Nick, the security guard. So, I should tell Nick, I'm like, I should just walk by next time at the bus with my phone by my side and just go like, boom, look at that. And then show him like the sold jersey thing.
You sold that baby for $50, and that's $50 more than he's ever made on eBay, unfortunately. Yes. So
100%. I sold it, and that was pretty cool. I got it shipped out like the next day and stuff. So that was very nice. Recouped most of the money for my ticket, and then we kind of decided that if you couldn't find a buyer for yours, Jack, at the stadium in person, I was going to sell yours too. So I ended up listing yours, and then I ended up selling it. It took a couple days because just for some reason they were like bootleg jerseys of this like on eBay. I don't know who the hell is bootlegging these jerseys, but it kind of fucked up the market a little bit. But I ended up selling yours. Unfortunately not quite as much as mine, but definitely enough to help offset some of the cost of the tickets. So
yeah. So not bad. So that was kind of the plan, to go in there and get these jerseys and sell them for whatever we could get back for them. So mission accomplished. So that was neat. The big news, I guess we can get to it, of this whole game, was the Tristan Peters cycle. Tristan Peters was kind of a guy we were making fun of at the beginning of the year. It's like, who the hell is this guy? Just a Savannah Bananas guy. Seems like he's a high effort, but not much talent type of dude. I guess we were wrong about that. I think he's hitting 300 now, which is great. And I think he made the All-Star team too, right? Was he named as a replacement?
Yeah, he got named shortly after this game. I don't know if it was strictly because of the cycle, but So it was very dramatic. It was cool.
Because I think he started off with the double and the single, so he had those, and then he needed a home run and a triple for the cycle, and he got them in the same inning. He got the home run first, and so he needed the triple. And Jeremy, we'd flagged it, and we're like, well, he's gonna get one more at bat at some point in the game. We're like, he's guaranteed one more at bat, so maybe we'll see him get it. But I don't think either of us thought there was a realistic chance of that happening. Because he needed the triple, it's like there was probably a less than 1% chance that he was going to do it. I mean, I think literally, because he had 250 at-bats for the season and 2 triples. And triples are just so rare anyway. So he comes up to the plate, and he hits a screaming ground ball down the right field line. First baseman dives for it, doesn't get it. Of course, we have a great angle on the whole play. We see the whole thing unfold. Ball rolls all the way down to the wall. I look over at Lawrence Butler, who's playing right field. He's got a really, really long run for it. And at that point, it was like, Peters is going to get it. He's going to get this cycle. No way is he going to stop at second. I think they even said the third base coach put up the stop sign for him, and he decided to go. And rightfully so, too. The game was a blowout at that point. And it was awesome, man. I mean, we were out of our seats. I was screaming like, get down, because it was a close throw, too. He was almost out. It was exhilarating, man. I mean, that it might have been one of the most exhilarating things I've seen in a baseball game in a long time, if not ever. So it was a cool moment.
Yeah, it was cool. I have to admit, I felt a little guilty, seeing a cycle on my own with the PCA one. And, obviously that one was, super important for me as a Cubs fan. But it was almost anticlimactic to having it done in reverse order. The way he was batting that night, it just seemed like almost like a sure thing that he was just going to get a single. This one was definitely more exciting. Obviously, not the guy you would expect it to happen with. Jack, you you did just offhandedly say he only needs a triple, which that's been said a million times, a million and a half times. Because guys have been in that position a lot, and so and then the fact that he got that second at bat, we weren't 100% sure he was going to get that at bat, and then when the Sox kept batting around in the 7th, it's okay, he's probably going to get it. Then it was oh, he's going to get it this inning, and I thought that ball was gonna I thought that maybe he was gonna get caught, he was just gonna run out of gas between second and third, and you watch the replay too, and he rolls his ankle coming out of the box too, he kind of stumbled out of the box, and then I have to say, who's the Sox third base coach, Mike Jershell or something?
I think it's Jershell, and those Jershell guys, or however you say that, those Jershell guys, there's more than just him. They're all over the place, they're coaches. I think the Brewers used to have at least 1 or 2 of them as coaches as well. So, I think I didn't watch the replay, Jeremy, but I read somewhere, I think he put up the stop sign. Do you see that on the replay?
Tristan Peters said he did in the post-game interview. He's he put up the stop sign, and it's dude, seriously? Did he not know that it was maybe he didn't know. But come on, man. Come on. This team lost fucking 100 and whatever games 2 years ago. They lost 100 last year. They're in first. They're tied for first place. What are you doing? Give the fans something to freaking cheer about, man.
And it's a blowout. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, he had to have not known the situation because like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'll withhold. I'll take it all back if that's what ended up happening. I didn't see, but yeah, it was just crazy and like he legged it out. It was awesome and just I was pounding the railing. I was glad we were in front of that railing because I was like I was bent all the way over and just pounding that railing. Come on. And so it was quite exciting and it was very cool and yeah, man, it was just it's just awesome to see and it's just nonsensical that that it was the third of the season in MLB and like two of them have been Chicago players and I was just at both games, so I don't know.
Yeah,
very lucky. To see that.
It's totally wild. Like you said, within 30 days of each other. That's cool. I don't think many people in the stadium realized that he had hit for the cycle when it happened. At least not around us. Of course, they did say it in the bottom half of the next inning, and they said it was only the 7th one in White Sox history. I think I don't know exactly how long the White Sox have been around. It's got to be 125 years or something like that, give or take. So that's one about every 2 decades that happens. I think the ones in the 2000s are Abreu had one maybe in 2017, and I think Jose Valentin had one in 2000. So it's like I love me some Jose Valentin. He played shortstop for the Brewers in the 90s, but they don't happen often. So it was a privilege to be able to see that for sure.
Yeah, very, very cool. So, and and it's crazy too. It's like we may never see one again. I feel like I will almost certainly not see one again because I saw 2 in a month. So, so yeah, just kind of crazy to think about. So, very cool. And that alone was probably worth the price of admission.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was also a firework night. But if you know Jack and myself, we're trying to get out of that area. Just get back to our home, and it was funny. I was behind you, Jack. You were kind of leading the way on this one, and I saw one of the White Sox workers say something to you, and I wasn't quite sure what she said, but then she kind of gave me a look, like a kind of like a confused look. So what was that exchange like?
So she was like she was looking at me the whole way down the aisle because I think by her body language she could tell that we were leaving, and she's like, "Hey, there's a post-game fireworks show if you want to stay." And I just said, "Oh, no, thanks." And then we walked out. But it's like, hey, I know there's fireworks. Like you don't have to. There's no incentive for you to keep me in this park. I appreciate the gesture, but it was just a weird. White Sox employees have been, indifference is their MO. And it's like, here's one that's like going above and beyond at a very strange time. So it was just, it was just odd. And Jeremy, I've never been a fireworks guy either. I don't really, it's not my thing.
I like fireworks enough. I like to watch fireworks as much as the next guy, but like, I guess just we go to a lot of games and those opportunities are always there. I mean, it was this was just coming off of the 4th of July as well, so it's like if anyone didn't get their share their fill of fireworks the previous week, I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, it was just one of those things. So yeah, we kind of headed home and called it a night basically.
Yep. And Jeremy, it was nice. Great night, obviously. But I think you mentioned before that you got you and the Greg Raffer exchanged numbers, and I think there's a little bit of a postscript to all this story.
Yeah, there was. I was out Saturday afternoon with my wife, just spending time with my wife, quality time with my wife. Just go to a lot of games, so obviously want to set time aside for that life, and we were like out like shopping for flowers for our like garden, and I get a text from the old Greg Raffer.
Yep.
And he goes, he asks, he's like, anyone signed down the line? And and I was like, damn it, and I had to really think about it, and I was like, oh, we were in line for food like during like the anthem time, so we didn't see if anyone signed down the line.
Yep.
And the answer is probably no, because
Yep.
probably, and he even said this himself. He's like, no one's going to be trying to get the A's down the line. So,
Yep.
so I was just like, man, I was up getting food at that time. I didn't see, and then he didn't write back.
Okay.
And so I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, damn it, I failed the first Gray Grapher test.
You know what, Jeremy? The only thing you would have gotten back is K. That's it. Like that would have been the maximum response, because he's asked me questions like that too, and I haven't known the answer. And if he responds, he'll just say okay or K. So he's just trying to make things easier for himself. So just remember that.
Yeah, most definitely. So. So yeah, that was I hope to redeem myself, I guess, at some point, but
yeah, right.
But yeah, so that was that game. High cost to get in, but it paid off, I think, for me, with autographs, with the jersey, and with the cycle for sure. So yeah, glad we did that one.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And, we have one more Friday night game coming up for you in the month of July here. It's going to be this week. It's going to Cubs versus Twins at Wrigley Field. I've never been to a Friday night game. I know, Jeremy, maybe you've been to one because of a rain delay or something like that. Maybe you've even been to others. But it's our first one for the podcast for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see what the vibe is like at Wrigley Field on a Friday night. And we've been looking forward to it, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, after the All-Star break too, you go a couple days without baseball, and you're ready for it again. Just as a quick side note, Jack, we were going to do an episode about things we like, things we don't like in baseball, and I'm an All-Star game stan. Like, I do still love the All-Star game. I gotta say, the one yesterday sucked royally. It was boring. It was so boring, and it was horrible.
I looked at the score about halfway through because I had wrapped up what I was doing for the night, and it was the sixth inning, and it was 3-0. And I saw that each team had used about 5 or 6 pitchers, and I was like, I'm gonna skip this. I'm gonna watch House of the Dragon. So I didn't end up watching. They got to fix the All-Star game, man. They got to figure something out. It's just I don't think it's been good for years. It's not fun to watch, 9 Terminators come in and just mow these batters down. A lot of the best players aren't even playing. I know Judge is hurt. Ohtani, didn't play in the game. So, they got to fix it, man.
Yeah, it was. This one in particular, I can get behind a lot of them, but I was just looking at my phone a lot for this game. So, we're ready for real baseball to resume, and that'll be the next episode.
Yeah, so it should be fun. Tune in for that. But for this episode, I'm Jack Swakowski.
And I'm Jeremy Dionisio.
We'll see you next week.
Later.